ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It? Podcast. I'm your host, GB, and today's guest is a professional wrestler, a content creator. She's appeared on BBC, which is a big fucking deal. Please give it up for the suplex queen, NADIA SAPPHIRE. How you doing today? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Just super tired, but yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, I've got to squeeze it in. Like, I do currently have vertigo. I mentioned it to my guests yesterday, but I do feel a lot better, which is the main thing.
Honestly, that must be horrific.
Yeah, it's fucking
Did you
shit.
grow up with it? To be sick,
I did on Tuesday. Yeah.
I bless you. What, should I be sick on the camera now?
That'll get some views, wouldn't it?
Might do. There'll be some sickos out there who just want to watch that.
Don't. I mean, there's a fetish for everything. I mean,
100%. There probably is a fetish for being sick on camera. You've probably got people there, like, literally,
they're waiting for it already, aren't they? Come on, mate.
Yeah. Being you calling could be how you're going to be a millionaire. That could literally be the turning point.
What do you call it? Podcast? Throwing up. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Throwing podcast.
Awesome. So we had a nice little chat before, and I know that you do have a very busy schedule. So I will say it whilst recording, thank you again for coming on. It does mean a lot for coming on this podcast. It should have a laugh. So I'm going to kickstart the show, and I'm going to talk about wrestling first. And I want to know what actually got you into wrestling in the first place.
So how old am I now? I'm 13. I'm old as fuck now. Am I allowed to swear or not?
You can swear all day long, and thank you for making me feel old
I
as
just
well.
wanted to know because I know like YouTube don't monetize stuff.
As long as you don't say CUNT, because I know they get a bit funny about that, but the F word.
My mum doesn't like me saying that word. Yeah, so I'm 30 now, so I'm old. But basically, when I was like an 8-year-old child, I think it was 8 years old. When was 2001? That was 19 years ago. No, I would maybe 11. No, I think it was 2000 I was watching it.
So
2001 was 20 years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
So it'd be 9 because my birthday's in August. And right. So just before the Alliance, so around about 9, I'll say. So just before I turned 10. So back in April, we had the 2001 invasion, and in August I would have turned 10. So yeah, it would be 9 when I was watching it. I was watching it just before the Alliance and the WWF type of thing. So I was watching it just before then. So 9. So from when I was 9 years old, I started watching WWE, that's what it's called now, and I fell in love with it. I just remember watching it like on like a Saturday morning, like my dad would be flicking through, and honestly, I was just like obsessed with it. I was obsessed with the storylines. I felt like I had to watch it. Like every on the weekends, I'd have like my own little TV, and I'd get the Spark lead, and it was like, you know, the TVs where you can like record videos.
Oh, VHS,
and I basically plug it into my Sky TV, thing the Spark leads, so it'd be on, like, take the Spark lead out with Skybox and put it in my little TV and then press record so I could keep it on tape then. So I do that with like SmackDown, because I think Raw wasn't on for free, but like you'd have like the Raw highlights, but then you'd have this actual SmackDown show on like a Saturday on Sky Sports 1, I think it was, or Sunday.
No, you're not wrong.
One of the days.
This is just bringing me back to my childhood as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I was obsessed with it. Like, for me, it was like the characters, everything. I'd draw like all the characters in my books in school. I'd have wrestling figures on me. Like, I was just obsessed. And something in me then was just like, that's what I have to be. Like, I have to be a wrestler. Like, even when I was in high school, my teachers were like, come on, Nat, let's be realistic. Like, you can't be a wrestler. You're not going to live off wrestling. Like, you know, get a normal job. Like, do you want to be a beautician? Do you want to be a hairdresser? Like, what do you want to be? And I was like, no. I want to be a wrestler. So when I was 16 and we left school, everyone went to college. All my friends did. And I was like, no, I'm not going to college. I'm moving to Swindon and I'm going to train full time to be a wrestler. There's a training school. They had 5 sessions on a week. I was like, I'm going to get a little job and I'm going to live in a little shared house, which is a fucking shitty shared house. And I'm going to be a wrestler. That's it. Like,
what was the reaction, by the way, when you did tell like your friends and family at quite a young age, by the way, like, I'm going to move to Swindon and I'm going to become a professional wrestler?
Well, I was training in Swindon from the age of like 15, so I was commuting. So I'd after school, I'd commute on the train to Swindon to go and train in the evenings, or on the weekends, I'd use all my money. I was working in a place called Magical Birthdays, where we were doing like child's birthday parties and stuff. And I just used that money to get my train and pay my training fees to go train all day on a Sunday, or to basically like go down like one night in after school type of thing and train. Then I get back late at night then, but I didn't care. And I was actually like wrestling training in Wales from the age of 14 anyway, going to shows from the age of 14, getting lifts with wrestlers and stuff from that age. So I think like my friends and family knew. Like, my dad didn't know that I wrestled. He didn't find out until like a few years back. But my actual, like, you know, like my mum, my siblings, my friends, they all knew. Like, you know, it's like everyone in Cardiff knows me as Nadia the wrestler. Like, you know, like that's just what I'm known as, because I was training from 14, I'm 30 now. Everyone in Cardiff knows everyone. It's like, oh yeah, Nadia, oh yeah, the wrestler, yeah, I know who it is, type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of normal. Like, if like say I meet a guy now and he's like, what do you do? Like, I wrestle. Obviously, like, they've got like a million questions, but to me it's normal, to my friends it's normal, to my family it's normal, because it's been from such a young age. So I made my debut when I was 16. So yeah, just sort of, it's just normal.
Oh dear. So you made your debut before you could actually legally drink.
yeah, we could drink.
Oh dear. No, I mean, I've got to like admire that, like the fact that you're still working, traveling at such a young age and training. You know, I think a lot of people wait till they're a bit older and then they think, shit, it's not for me. But the fact that you knew at a young age that you wanted to do that, you had the passion and the commitment. And one thing I've got to backtrack on, by the way, I think anytime it's a first and show, I've got to acknowledge it. I've never heard anyone say the invasion storyline was what got them into wrestling. Because if you ask like a general fan,
that got me into wrestling. The storyline was amazing. I remember having anxiety in school, thinking that WWF were going to go out of business at Survivor Series. And I was in private, literally having anxiety, thinking, "Oh my god, WWF's going to be gone." Like,
not laughing at anxiety, by the way. I've just laughed at the fact
that it was real.
This committed.
I was like, WCW. Like, I was like, they can't take over. I was like, Lita's not going to be there. The Hardy Boys are not going to be there. I was like, well, I'm not going to see my favorite wrestlers. What's going to happen? Because obviously, when like you're 9 or 10, it's just like it's so real. It was so real to me.
I love that. Just like Shane McMahon can actually put his dad out of business. And his sister is so evil. Like, then what's going on?
My favourite wrestlers are going to go, like, literally. Yeah. And yeah, for me, that's just like, I felt lockdown. I watched Invasion storyline all over again. I was talking about it on my YouTube channel to my subscribers, and on my OnlyFans during lockdown, I was doing live chats, and we were talking about wrestling a lot. And I was saying, yeah, so this is the match I'm on, or I'm on this now, I'm on that now. I'm up to like 2000, somewhere in 2002, probably towards the end of 2002 now. So, you know, like when you just start watching it from where you initially watched it, and then
I don't think the invasion angle was that bad. I mean, yeah, it missed all the big stars. I'm not going to sort of, you know, criticize it all day long, because it wasn't having Goldberg and Hogan and blah, 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 blah. But like, we had RVD and Kurt Angle and Austin and Jericho and The Rock. Like, they were
loved them. You know, like when I watch a promo that includes Jericho, The Rock, and Kurt Angle, I laugh. Like, their promos are hilarious in like 2001 time, and Austin, and like when Austin and Angle sort of like before, was it just at the start of the invasion, they had like this sort of like French, and then like when The Rock would take the piss out of Stephanie and Chris Jericho would rip into her, it's hilarious. So when they take the piss out of
some of the promos to Stephanie is like, fair play to her for taking out like in front of a large audience.
They were hilarious. Like literally, I love Stephanie. Like, I like, you know, like her reactions and all that. I try to like react how she'd react to a lot of my stuff, because I just think, fucking heck, like, she's a heat magnet.
There is one thing that I've noticed that you've done, and it just cracks me up. I mean, maybe because like UK, we find it quite funny. Like, you're calling like the audience tramps. I fucking love it. Like, what made you do that? Like, you're a tramp, and I'm just like, I love it. I do wrestling.
I've been saying it since I was 16, so it's just like, oh, you're a tramp. Yeah. Well, it was just like, yeah, like I was like, oh no, you're tramps, I'm amazing, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're tramps. Yeah, literally. It's like my character, like she feels like she's better than everyone. She's larger than life. Like all the audience, they're just like, yeah, like to her, like they're little tramps, and she's just like, you know, performing for the tramps.
I love it. It's just great. It's like, I don't think Americans would sort of understand it fully. They'd be like, "Why are you calling me a tramp?" Like, that's a terrible accent, by the way. Yeah, they'd just be like really confused by it. But I think it's great in the UK. One thing, just switching off the wrestling, because I know something that you did do, like beauty pageants and being like a model. Was that before wrestling, or was that during your wrestling time?
So when I was 17, and I was living in Swindon, so obviously I moved to Swindon when I was 16, I took part in the Miss Swindon beauty pageant, and I was runner-up Miss Swindon, so I got second in the beauty pageant, and that obviously got like lots of press. I did like lots of little bits, like I've got like so many old snippets when I was like 17, 18, like I worked with like local papers, I worked with ones in Cardiff, done like a little bit of background modelling, I've done stuff for British Home Stores, Dream Jeans. And then when I was 18, I tore my ACL, lateral menisci and medial meniscus, so I took time out of wrestling. And with my time out of wrestling, I did more beauty pageants. So I did Miss Cardiff City 2010. And then I was also a finalist of Miss Universe Great Britain, which was in Birmingham, NEC? NEC, is that what it's called?
NEC, yeah.
Yeah, that was really like, yeah, I love that. So yeah, that was like, so like I started doing them more when I had come out of wrestling for my injury. So I was still sort of like known as a girl who wrestles because I'd been injured for like, I don't know, 6 months to a year type of thing. But yeah, I actually started them whilst I was wrestling, and I guess that's how the gimmick and all that fell into place, because I just sort of rolled with the gimmick.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I mean, I can imagine that being quite difficult. And my mum would love you, by the way, for modelling for BHS. Like, I discovered like a couple months ago that's actually closed down. Closed down ages ago. Yeah, we did these jeans. They meant to make you look curvy and stretchy. Like it was like, because like obviously like now like curvy figures are in and stuff, but back when I was 18 years old, so 12 years ago, curvy wasn't really in that much. And British Home Stores had brought out these jeans where basically they were meant to like make your bum look big, and like it was like a whole thing like in the paper as well. I'd have to find, like, I've got the cut-ins, I've got like an album on Facebook with like, I think it's got press and published or something, with all my old cut-ins of it all and everything. But yeah, like, and then like, so you had to wear like your normal jeans and then like a British Home Store jeans. Like I didn't see the difference, to be fair. I think I look better in normal jeans, but yeah. But no, it was just fun. It's fun things to do, I guess. You're still discovering yourself at that age. We didn't have like Instagram or nothing then, so you just like, I feel like you're outsourcing a lot then, like you're doing things with, it's more like you get known from like papers and stuff like that, as like now you get more known from social media. But back then I think we just had Facebook and maybe MySpace. Oh, MySpace, I fucking missed that place.
I know. I found my old MySpace, but I don't know the email address to get in, and I would love to get
I had that problem and I gave up in the end.
Yeah, I don't know it. Like, I would love to, because like I've seen like some of my old photos, and like I remember I had like a music playlist on there, and I really want to find that music playlist so I can listen to all that music. But
I missed that. Just like having your like layouts, top 8 friends, like just your own music for the day, and just I mean, my music choice hasn't really aged well. Like I used to have like Lost Prophets. I was like,
did you?
Yeah. I was like, nice one, Ian. Thanks, mate. First band I ever saw live, by the way. Ripped up the ticket.
Were they? Yeah. I think mine was Steps or something. Steps, I think.
If you mentioned Steps after that, because I remember he got abused when it came out by, you know, Ian Watkins. But obviously, it was H. You probably know more about me, about Steps than I do. But one of the members is called Ian Watkins as well, or something. And he got abused at the time. I mean, it was like, it's not the right, I'm not that one. So it's on the odd like Google.
I don't know. You should like music.
But no, I think
just be like, woo, Steps.
Oh, darn, I'm gonna have tragedy stuck in my head all day now. Oh, darn, it's just making it worse, because I don't mind cheesy music, like anytime like Grease is on, like even High School Musical, like I'll be like,
Yeah.
you know, just
Yeah.
I don't know the words to that, but yeah. I'm gonna switch off now. Anyway, so there's one thing I really do like about you is the fact that you're very open about mental health.
Yeah.
And I feel, though I think we are starting to hear a little bit more about it in wrestling, I still think not enough's being done, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree as well. I mean, I've spoke about mental health on this podcast before because I suffer from myself, but we're not here to talk about me. But I just want to know from your point of view, you know, do you think that there is been enough done? And if there isn't, what do you think we can do to sort of encourage it a bit more, that we sort of take it more seriously?
So I feel like now, like these days, like I used to talk about mental health years and years ago. Like, you know, I think you've probably seen the stuff with BBC I did, and this was like going back a good few years back.
Yeah, about your bipolar,
like,
you explaining it.
Yeah. I feel like now it's become a trend, like where everyone's like, oh, World Mental Health Day and stuff like that. And I get that, like, you know, it's great to do all these awarenesses and everything, but I feel like so many people just talk about it every day. Like, I don't know, like maybe for like an intention thing, I'm not quite sure, where like I've just sort of like, I don't want to talk about it every day because I'm like I'm very big in like law of attraction now and positive thinking and just being positive. So for me, I don't want to bring the negative back down. So like all my friends who have like mental health problems, like I support them through it. And I talk about them. Like there's a few wrestling fans who come to me as well, and I speak to them about it, and like, you know, I've like got like a really good understanding for them, and I can sort of talk to them about like things which I've been through over the years, because I've suffered since I was a little girl. Like literally, I think I was self-harming from like the age of 12. So like I suffered from it, but it's the type of thing where like I don't just like to be on social media now and be like, yeah guys, so I got bipolar, I got borderline personality disorder, I've got this as well, I got that. Like I just sort of like to move on from it, just because I want my life to be like I don't want that to define me. Like I don't want a person with something wrong with me. Like I feel like I'm a lot more than that now, especially in my older age, and I'm all for being positive and thinking, yeah, I have. But every time I was really down, like the last few weeks, like I had like a massive dip, and like I had to speak to my doctor and stuff like that. But I just sort of like keep it quiet, because like I'll talk to people around me, but like I might put like a thing on about like, why do we think this way? I don't know, something like that. But I don't overdo it. I feel like as well, like I feel like everyone's got something anyway. Like there's no such thing as normal. Like we've all got like, even if like everyone's had to struggle in their life, right? At some point everyone will experience a low. Obviously it's a lot worse for others. Like during lockdown there was about 4 guys in the awful. Male suicide is horrific at the moment. I feel like it's good to be aware and it's good to talk. I think I tend to talk to people, talk to friends, talk to family. It's so good to talk and just be in tune with your emotions, just be in tune with how you're feeling, and write down how you're feeling, and sort of like feeling like that. Like sometimes like, you don't even know like that. But yeah, I don't know what my point is.
And I completely understand where you come from, and I actually agree. I think I'm trying to say it without sort of coming across as heartless. I think it's good to acknowledge mental health, but at the same time, it's feel like some people just do it for the sake of it. Like Mental Health Day, it's great intention and a good idea, but I think it's kind of loses its meaning when people just forget about it next day. But at the same time, you do have to be positive, because otherwise, you know, you just kind of dip further and further. So I completely understand your point.
I feel like people do it on Twitter for the trends, like just to get the likes, like, oh guys, it's World Mental Health Day, here's a number for Samaritans. But then like the rest of the year they don't care about anyone's mental health around them, or they don't care about,
or they'll be a dick to everyone else like the next day. And like I'm a massive believer on like how you act to someone and how you treat someone could be the tipping point of someone or the non-tipping point. For example, I could see someone in the street now, and if I'm an absolute, like, I don't know what's going on in their head, right? So if I'm an absolute bitch to them, I could be that one person that tips them over the edge and makes them do something. Or
if I'm really nice to them, I could be that one person that makes them think, you know what? The world's not such a shit place. The world's actually a great place. Like, you know, like this person's actually made me keep fighting for today. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's so important to like treat people how you want to be treated. Like obviously like throughout the years, like, you know, when I was like in my early 20s, I was a little bitch, you know what I mean? But I'm like aware now that I'm older of like how my actions or how I may speak to someone can affect someone, because I don't know what's going on in their heads. So I feel like even though like we have these World Mental Health Days and everything, and it's great because it's great awareness, it's sort of like I feel like we need to be more aware on a daily basis. Even like when you've got like trolls and stuff on Twitter now, or people trying to sabotage people, or people trying to cancel people, you've got to think how that's going to affect that person's mental health, just because you've got a personal vendetta against them, or just because you don't like them, or just because you're jealous of, for whatever reason. Like someone can look like their life is absolutely amazing, but you have no idea what's going on in their heads. Like my life looks absolutely amazing, and you know what, my life is amazing, I'm really happy, but then I do have my dips because of my problems, like because of the things I've been diagnosed with. So I do have my dips, even though at the same time I would say to myself, no, Nad, happiness is a choice. And I write my gratitude. I write like everything that I'm thankful for in the nights before I go to bed. I'm like, no, I'm thankful for this. I'm so lucky to have this. I'm so lucky to have that. Like I'm in such a great space. So yeah, it's such a complex thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no black or white when it comes to this. I just wanted to maybe get your opinion on it, because I know you are quite open about it, and I think maybe just I thought sometimes like it could be more done in wrestling, but I think everyone's different. Everyone is so different, and like Twitter itself can be so toxic. Like Twitter can be fucking great sometimes.
The one thing that should be done in wrestling is, obviously we had the speaking out movement, that was great, but the one thing we didn't get rid of was bullies and bullies online, and wrestlers being awful to people backstage or behind their backs or trying to get people unbooked. That's one thing which we didn't get rid of. And obviously you've got to think like these people are affecting people's mental health. Like I went this month from having 6 shows in October to 1 show. The first show literally cancelled because of like all like the COVID restrictions, this and that, and like they closed down stuff
beyond their control.
Then basically the 2 shows I was meant to have this weekend, basically because COVID numbers are going down, they basically stopped. But the other 2 shows, which were meant to be last weekend, they were both up north, they were both brand new promotions. The first person messaged like a few months before the show was meant to happen, and he was like, I'm not going to go ahead with this promotion no more. He'd given me like quite a few dates, and he was like, I've had loads of drama up north, not done ticket sales, this and that. So obviously you've got to think something's happening with that person's feeling shit, so that person's obviously not doing their show. Then the fight for Honour show got cancelled as well. I spoke to the promoter after. I'm not quite sure what was said, but some things were said online where mentally he just couldn't deal with it. Like he was, because it can just be such an awful place. So this guy practically had like a mental breakdown online, was writing things back to wrestlers and stuff like that. And and I just think like we're not thinking about how he's feeling. I'm not quite sure how it all started, as in like why that, but anyway, decided to then not do that either. So X amount of wrestlers lost work again. So I've gone from 6 to 1 in the month of October, and I guess 2 of them were to do with people's mental health. So it just shows that we need to be nicer.
No, absolutely, I do agree. But we're gonna go in a positive route now, as you've said.
Be
happy. I would like to know if you could describe yourself in 3 words.
Okay.
What 3 words would you pick?
Okay, I'd say.
Put you on the spot then. Sorry.
Right, I'd say confident, bubbly, and caring.
Bubbly, confident, and caring. I like that. My nickname is always be bubbly.
That's how my friends would describe me. So
Okay, positive words as well. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What have been some of your favourite matches of your wrestling career? That's a bit of a boring question, but you do get some good answers out of it. So I'd like to hear.
So I've never had that match for me where like it's like stood out amazingly, but then I've had like great experiences, especially like abroad. Like I got to have like the first women's match in Israel, and that was just like a really nice accomplishment, especially because I was half Arab, even though it was like a Jewish country. You've got Palestine, which is like sort of like it's all on, like the Arab countries all on the border. I really enjoyed my times when I wrestled Pollyanna. We had some great matches together. I felt like that girl brought out the best in me. Begged her to come back to wrestling, and she won't. So it is what it is. I can't even think like.
There's probably so many, to be fair. I mean,
like
you've been wrestling for like 16 years.
You know what? 14. Like, for FW, I used to do a lot of volleying, and I had so much fun with that. Like, I love volleying. Like, I used to get like so much heat from like the crowd, and I've done so many fun things. Like, I've had weddings, I've been pied in the face, I've had like my birthday ruined, and I've had birthday cake all over me. There's been like so many different things. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Israel, that's fucking awesome, by the way. Like, just how did that opportunity come about? That's really cool that you've been over there to wrestle, by the way.
So a wrestling promoter from the UK contacted me and was basically just like, oh, do you want to wrestle in Israel? And like literally that month I was going to take off because it was like, was it late August I went or early September? I can't remember, but I was taking a few weeks out anyway because August I always celebrate my birthday, but I usually go like a few weeks of celebrating, holidays, like I literally take it like, you know, a few weeks. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. So I was like, that sounds like a great opportunity. Like, it was like the airport. Like I've never experienced racism in my life until I went to Israel. So like obviously like when so I'm half Arab and my dad's from Libya, lives in Libya. So I'm half Arab, half Welsh. And, you know, like when like all of the stuff happened, like with Arabs and stuff years ago, like in the UK, then I always remember being a bit anxious, thinking like, oh, I was too anxious to tell people that I was half Arab and stuff like that, just in case they blame me. You know, like people were like attacking mosques and stuff. I can't remember. Something happened years ago.
Scumbags, yeah.
It wasn't 9/11, it was something else happened after that. There was always wars, right? So but then I was so proud, right? I was like, yes, I'm half Arab. I'm so proud because it's so different. And when I got to Israel to the airport, like, you know, I'm excited, I'm a girl on my own. And when you go through passport control, I gave them my passport. Now, my surname is Ageli Mana and my first name is Nadia. That's like an Arabic name. Anyway, they were like, what's your dad's name? What's your dad's name? Just all, and I'm like, what? They kept my passport, did not let me go through passport control and said, you need to go over to that room. So I went over to this room, I looked. On my like left, there was like a lady with a headscarf. On my right, there was two Arab men. I thought, right, fuck, I know why I'm here now. I know the situation. And I'd been reading stuff beforehand, because I think there's like a few like war stuff going on. Like I read about like policemen beating up like a woman in a headscarf, and like I just read stuff beforehand because my mum was like, right, make sure when you go, like, you know, you're covered up, you're not this, you're not that, because she knows how flamboyant I am.
Yeah.
So basically I went into this room for questioning, and I just, like, the promoter's obviously waiting on the other side of me. I'm like, or like the promoter's people picking me up. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going in for questioning. Like, I won't be long, because obviously people are waiting for me. And they're like, right, so why are you here? And I'm like, for wrestling. And then they're just like asking me all these questions. What's your dad's name? Where'd your dad live? And I'm like, and they're like literally having to think. I'm like, right, so my dad's name, even though I've never met him, and I had to think like what his name was and just all this stuff. And because like when I was waiting for this, the one lady said that she'd been there for hours. So I was like thinking, am I going to be here for hours? Luckily, they let me go. So obviously that I think my anxiety. When I actually met the boys who picked me up and I met the promoter, they were amazing. The girl who I wrestled, Gaia Glass, she was amazing. She said her partner has dark skin, so basically she was like, they do it to her partner every time he comes to Israel, even though he comes from like America or something. They said like they always do it to him, and I was like, really? Like, why? Like, why do they do this? You know, like, yeah. I don't understand. Like, you know, like, I'm just here to wrestle. Like, I'm not going to do anything. So I was really anxious from this whole ordeal, and out of my own money, like I was meant to stay in Israel for a few days, and I just didn't feel like the wrestlers and the wrestling people made me feel so welcome. But I just felt like after this, like I just felt like ashamed. I felt like I was ashamed of being Arab. I felt like I was something, like the way I got made to feel in the airport, and it gets worse, I'll tell you in a minute, but the way I felt in the airport. It
gets worse. Bloody hell.
I just felt so ashamed, like being in this hotel on my own. People, like, I felt paranoid. People were looking at me thinking, is she, like I just felt like a terrorist. That's how I felt. People were looking at me. Like I felt like that because of how I was made to feel in the airport with the questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I booked my flight home a day earlier out of my own money. I didn't want to stay in Israel because even though after the show, like I did this before the show, and after the show I had such a great time, and the wrestlers were also amazing. They wanted to do stuff throughout the week, and I was like, sorry, I've booked my flight home a week early, and I probably would have had an amazing time if I stayed. But obviously just when you're on your own and you wind yourself up and you think about things, you're just like, oh, I want to leave type of thing. Like I've never experienced that or experienced feeling ashamed of what my family is or who I am. So when I was leaving Israel, basically, so like, you know, you put your liquids in your normal bag, so you put your liquids in your big suitcase, and your normal bag, you've got nothing on you, right? So I had no liquids or nothing on me. So they checked my passports and they were like, right, okay, the guy was like, oh, to be fair, you're probably going to get stopped again, like at the one bit. And I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. Anyway, so at the bit where like your bag's going through, they were like, right, you need to come with us. And they said, right, have you met anyone in Israel who's given you something that could hurt anyone, like on the plane or something like that, something along them lines? Have you been given a gift that could hurt someone? I did a whole vlog on it, and I laughed. What? Like I actually laughed in their face. I was like, given something that could hurt, like I was like, what? Anyway, so I got I had to take my shoes off, and like they just sort of like took my phones. I had like I got my phone, I got my spare phone with no SIM card in, which I could just use for like little bits, like they connected the iPhones off, that makes sense. Took my phone, took my passport again. What they do then, they did like, you go through the machine, they did all the patting and all that. And I was thinking, I just want to leave. Like, I just want to get back to the UK. I really want to go. Like, so anxious, but just trying to get through and thinking, like, it's fine. Like, you know, I've not done anything wrong. I'm not a terrorist. I'm going to get through it now and it'll be fine. So they give me everything back and everything's fine. I think, right, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm in duty free now and I'm shopping. And then security comes back up to me and says, we need you to come with us again. Took my passport and phone again just to look through and put under a little, they were like putting my phone under a little thing. They were like looking through my purse as if like there could be like a miniature bomb or something. Like, I don't know. And I remember I was sitting on this plane and I was waiting for it to take off, and I was just thinking, please take off, because they pulled me back again when I was shopping duty free. I was expecting someone to come and take me off the plane, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, please just take off. And when the plane took off, I was like, oh my God, like, it was horrible. Like my mum
fully harassed you, like at the airport.
Sorry?
They fully harassed you at the airport. That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, my mum, like, because I remember on the way into Israel, like when I first got in, I contacted my mum to tell her what had happened. And my mum was so worried. She was anxious. And she said to me, she's like, Nad, like, you never go in there again. And I was like, oh, why don't you come with me next time and it'll be fine? Like, because I was like, the hotel was great. I was like, he could have fitted both of us in. Like, the actual wrestlers and the wrestling promotion, the fans were all amazing. The fans were so thankful to like see a women's wrestling match and have us there, and they were so thankful that we traveled to Israel. Like, they were amazing people. Like, I can't stress that. Like, I don't want it to shine a bad light on them. Like, they were the most nicest people ever. They ordered us food at the shows when I arrived. They took my bags in for me. They were like, do you want any drinks? They were so accommodating. They were the nicest people ever.
It was once you got outside the airport, great.
Yeah,
airport, fucking horrific.
Ways. Yeah, it's literally like, I would love to go back to Israel for the show, for the food, to see them people again, because they were amazing people.
Yeah.
But just in and out of Israel was just absolutely horrific. Like, and yeah, I've never experienced that in my life. And yeah, just feeling so ashamed and actually feeling like you've done something wrong, like just by you being in this country, that you're literally like a terrorist or something. Like, that's how I felt. Like, yeah, horrible, such a horrible feeling.
I can imagine. I mean, fair play to you for like going out there and still having sort of a positive mindset.
I didn't
like,
expect that to happen though. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like I obviously, like, you know, I know that obviously Arabic and Jew, like there's like a little bit of war, but in this day and age, I just assume that everyone's open-minded. Like, I'm the most open-minded person ever. I don't care what colour skin someone is. I don't care what they believe in. I'll be friends with anyone. I'll find something in common with every single person. We are all humans. We all literally like live and breathe the same. We're all going to live. We're all going to die, right? Like, that's the two things we've got in common. We're born and then we die, you know?
Yeah.
So literally, like, I'm like, I think because I'm not like that towards anyone, I just couldn't imagine that happening to me. And it really opened my eyes up to that racism is still happening all over the world. It really opened my eyes up to that. Like, I was just very blasé about it. I just assumed that because, like, you know,
it's 2021, you know, we should, you know, kind of move on as humans.
So multicultural Cardiff is. It's like everyone's friends with everyone. It's like you could have like a Muslim, a Jewish and a Christian, and like they'd all be friends, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was just bizarre.
That's so mental. Bizarre. Didn't really, in part it feels bad for asking how was it, but at the same time I don't, because it's an experience, but at the same time you did have, you know, something positive to say about it as well. Outside of the airport, you're treated like royalty basically, as you said.
Yeah, I was treated amazing by the wrestlers and by the, like, can't complain about that. Literally go from being treated like shit to royalty to shit.
Only in wrestling, right? Just like curious in that, like, what other places, in a positive way, have you really enjoyed sort of outside of the UK or England? I mean, if you enjoyed working in Scotland, if you've been there, has there been other places that you've been like, oh, I fucking love this, I want to go back?
I loved Brussels. Did a tattoo convention there. You know what? I feel like 2019 was like my most fun year for wrestling. Like the last, like, from September to December of 2019, I was literally wrestling like every weekend. I had about 2 or 3 shows a week, and I was literally like in and out of the UK. Like within that time, I'd obviously done Israel, I'd done Brussels, I'd done Austria, and I'd done Germany, like within them for a month. And it's like I'd come back from Austria, and then like that day then I'd have like a show in London, and it was just exciting. It was like such a good experience. And obviously with everything that's happened, that's not happening no more. So like 2019 was just such like a fun wrestling year.
Just be able to literally travel when the world was normal, basically.
Yeah, it was great. I loved Brussels. I actually drove to Brussels from I picked my friend up from Swindon so I left Wales, picked my friend up from Swindon. We drove to Dover. We put my car on the ferry, and then went from Calais, because we missed the one going to Dunkirk, so we had to get the one to Calais. And I went from Calais to Brussels then, and then on the way back then we drove to Dunkirk, and then went over to Dover. But yeah, that was so fun. Like, it was like 3 days. Like, it was like a tattoo convention. They were like all these like you know, like all like the fire girls and the motorbikes that go around in the circle, like all things on. Literally, we had breakfast in the hotel, we had lunch and dinner in the place, and we had so many drink vouchers given to us. I was actually speaking to this about my friend Benham yesterday when I went for dinner with him, because he came to the convention with me, and I like all the guys were just getting drunk. They had drink vouchers and everything, and I was just saying like, I can't wrestle drunk, so obviously like, I didn't get drunk. Like, I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't. Like I can't even deal with a hangover. I'm such a pussy. It's like I just like using mine for water or tea or coffee. But yeah, that was such a fun experience. Like that was an amazing experience. The few times I've wrestled in Switzerland for Swiss wrestling, they've treated me amazing. The shows have always been packed.
Swiss the nicest people, by the way, in Europe. I've heard they are so nice.
The Switzerland promoter is amazing. Stefan, his name is, and he is like, I remember the last time I went there, he had a few of us around his house the night before, and like he did like a nice barbecue with food, a few drinks, and the food was amazing. At the show backstage, it's like a spread of just food, like someone's like cooked stuff, and then there's energy drinks, there's bars, there's like sandwich, like party foods as well, and that's same with Germany as well. Or like there'll be hot dogs, they'll go get you like lots of Frankfurter hot dogs. I'm like, right, one hot dogs. And like I remember the first time I ever went to Germany, like water's my favourite drink, and I love water. And the first time I ever went to Germany, all the shops and the venue were selling fizzy water. And I was like, what? I was like, where's the normal water? They were like, no, we always like drink this water over here. And then they actually, I think the promoter's partner went and got me a bottle of Volvic from somewhere, bless her. And I remember, like, honestly, like, you know, when you go to these European countries, they are the most nicest, welcoming people ever. They make you feel at home. Like the last time I went to Germany, which is like end of 2019, I got in the car with two of the other wrestlers, and the pro's partner picked us up. She had a big thing of pretzels in the car ready for us. Here you go. I was just eating like a lush pretzel. It tastes like all bready inside. And I'm like, literally, like the hotel which we stay at is stunning, but we don't have time to use the facilities because at 6 a.m. the next morning we're leaving for our flights. So like, and we get there like late, but the hotel like has like a spa and all that, but we don't, because we don't, like we get there like 11, 12 in the night, and then the next morning we leave at like 6. We don't get a chance to use it. We get to have the breakfast. But yeah, honestly, like that is what I really want to do again, is just be wrestling in Europe consistently again. I don't care about the UK anymore. I'm just sort of like,
it sounds like you had actually more fun outside of the UK.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the UK, like, it's just drama in the UK all the time, and I'm not into that. I'm into just like adventures and just seeing things and enjoying things and just enjoying wrestling. I'm not like a massive indie wrestler. I don't do all these crazy moves no more. Right now we've got a massive influx of such talented women in the UK, and I can't with them, to be fair, so you ain't gonna see me keeping up with them, but they are amazing. Like some of the girls in UK are literally smashing it at the moment. But like I much rather go somewhere like Europe, have that experience, and do like, you know, a sort of show with like a few moves but like a lot of character and a lot of storytelling. That's still what I enjoy, you know.
No, that's awesome. Like Germany, by the way, fucking love it. I go out there a few times just to watch football. Oh, I just love
Such a
Germany.
family country. I'd literally love to go there for like Christmas one year or something. Honestly, all these countries which like I knew nothing about, where I'd never go on holiday, they're all amazing. Like I remember with Switzerland one time, I like the venue was right next to a food festival, and I went to the food festival beforehand, and I was there just like wanting to eat all the food, thinking, oh, I'm gonna be so bloated for my match.
Oh, like I just love going outside of the UK as well. Like the only place was a bit iffy was Czech Republic. Now Czech Republic is beautiful, love it, dirt cheap, had a really good time, but I did get some dirty licks out there a little bit more from the older generation.
You know what, the older generation everywhere though were quite judgmental still, aren't they?
I find that Germany a little bit, not to say that they're saying anything, but you know, like you just know.
Well,
like,
I was working with Tonic Health for a good like 6 months or so. They're basically a brand that it's like the drinks are like vitamin drinks, so like you've got like your vitamin C, D3, zinc and all that. And I was working with them for ages. They were sending me stuff monthly, and all of a sudden I didn't receive my stuff and I didn't hear anything off them, and I was like, this is weird. So I contacted them a few times and I emailed them. They were like, yeah, sorry Nadia, we can't work with you no more. We were like, because you've got OnlyFans. I was like, I've always had OnlyFans before I even things. And they were like, oh yeah, the thing is some of our investors or whatever are older and they won't approve. And I was like, but the thing is, I said, I don't do porn. I said, like, literally, like, yeah, like I'll have like a few pictures in lingerie and stuff, but that's nothing you're not going to see on a Britney Spears music video or Nicki Minaj twerking on,
or even on Instagram, you know.
I'm just going to twerk on my OnlyFans instead because I get paid for it, you know. Like I'll wear a thong on my OnlyFans, or even like when you watch a film, like a 15+ film has like a sex scene or like a nude booty or something. I'll show a nude booty, but like that's what I mean. Like you're not seeing nothing that you wouldn't see in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like okay, so there's a stigma here, and that's what I've noticed. Like I've spoken to like I know, like, you know, there's a few wrestling promotions that have said, oh, we'd love to work for us, but you've got OnlyFans, and I'm like, okay, I see what's happening, but I'm like, I earn way more money on OnlyFans than what I would wrestling.
I was gonna ask that.
UK, so I'm just like, whatever. Like I'm enjoying my life. Like yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, with OnlyFans, like, it's just, I've seen documentaries and I read up on it. There is so much fucking money on there. Like, so, I mean, don't worry, I'm not asking. I'm not asking because that's not
my boyfriend, well, my ex-boyfriend from years ago, he always used to say to me to go on OnlyFans. He'd be like, "Your arse on OnlyFans would be amazing." He was just like, "All you got to do is arse stuff," and I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And he was telling me for years to do it, and I was like, "No, it's not." And yeah, I finally done it when we were like split up. And now, you know what? There's so many female wrestlers doing it now. I've noticed Jordan Grace is on it.
Chelsea Green.
Sorry.
Chelsea Green's on it.
Yeah, Barbie Blank. There's so many people on it, and I'm like, yes, the more women in wrestling that come on it, the more accepting it's going to be, because literally, why shouldn't these women make money? Like, you know, women over the years have been exploited so much by men. Why shouldn't they make money off their own backs? It's sort of like, if a girl was in like FHM or Nuts magazine back 10 years ago, people would be like, oh yeah, whatever type of thing. But when a girl decides to actually do the exact same content on her own page, people got a problem with it then. And people are like, oh, you're a slut, you're this, you're that. And it's like, really, I'm just...
I take you get that a lot then, unfortunately.
It's sort of like when when you first start dating someone, like, oh yeah, I do OnlyFans. They're like, oh my god, you do porn, or oh, you do, like, they just assume, like, they don't actually take time. Like, no, that's not what I do. I do what I want to do in the comfort of my own home, you know, like, yeah. And it's sort of like, you know, I think Jordan Grace is doing bikini workouts. Why wouldn't you do that? She's got a bloody gorgeous body. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you do that? And like, it's the same with custom wrestling, like the stigma for custom wrestling. But people forget Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Nikki Storm, they all did custom wrestling. There's so many people like Selena Vega. There's so many people in Impact who do custom wrestling. Yeah, like they all do it. But then obviously I've got a custom wrestling promotion in the UK, and the UK feels like it's a bit more stigma to it. I feel like Scotland and stuff like that is a lot more open-minded, but actual England is just still a bit behind, you know what I mean? And I'm like, it's a great way for an indie wrestler to make money in between wrestling. If you want to be a wrestler full time, you've only got shows 2 times a week. Why not make an extra few £100 a week by doing custom wrestling? You're not, like, basically we get the scripts sent into us, and I'll go to the wrestler before I even accept the script. I say, this is the script, do you want to do it or not? If you don't want to do it, it's totally fine. I'll just tell the customer no. If there's something you want to change, because I don't care. Like I'm like, you know, as long as my wrestlers are happy, that's all I'm happy with, you know, because for me it's like having like a long-term business, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I have wrestlers who are like, yeah, that script's a bit weird, I won't do that. But I have other wrestlers who are like, yeah, that's amazing. Like, and the only difference is you're just following a script where you're doing it like in like an empty, like there's no audience watching, and you're doing it in your wrestling gear. So you could say like a training setting, maybe, you know, like in a training setting is where you're doing it. And it's no different to what you be doing on shows. Maybe you might have like the odd stink face or something, or like...
I was going to ask, do you still get stink face requests, by the way?
All the time. Get full-on stink face matches where like literally the whole 15 minutes is just full of stink faces. But it's a wrestling move, right?
It is.
That's literally how I made all my money, was on that.
The views that you got for that, like when you was doing it, fucking hell, on YouTube.
Yeah, like I remember the one exposure show was like, it's on like 2.8 million views, and that actual YouTube video.
And the likes are really strong for it. It's not like half dislikes and half likes. Like,
yeah, the actual video that got 2.8 million views, the clip has been put into loads of like, I remember like one video that got sent to me with 500 views. The clip is in that, and it's like boxing and MMA's most funniest moments or most worst moments, or you know what I mean? It's in all them type of videos now, and they're all getting 500k views. So it just keeps coming in and coming in. I'm like, oh my god, wow! Like I started off doing the stink face as something really fun, and just sort of like watching Rikishi. Rikishi had a fat ass, I had a fat ass, you know what I mean? It was really fun. I do it on family shows all the time because for me it was just like an innocent move. I didn't see it as a sexual thing. I didn't know at the time that it was fetishy or anything. And then about obviously 2 years ago when I started my custom wrestling company and I started my OnlyFans, that's when I realised. And now I'm like, right, I can't do the stink face on a family show anymore because I've realised that actually it is a bit,
yeah. So some of the comments is like, fucking hell. But it's so enough. Like, if Rikishi can do it, you know.
It started off as very innocent, you know what I mean? It's very like just a normal wrestling move, just like you do a suplex or something, you know what I mean? So, something's just like in the heat just to break it all up. But so now I'm just like, right, I'll do it on over 18s. But then like the promotion in Austria want me to do it. So I'm just like, oh, I'm getting booked to do a stink face. But then Austria promotions mainly got adults anyway. So
I like that. That's like a request. Like you have to do the stink face. If you get fucking money for it, like why not?
Picking your audience, isn't it? Really, but like on like an actual show where like it's like a family show, I wouldn't do it on that.
Yeah.
If it was like a show like where like I'd love to do it on that, but I just know I'd get backlash if that makes sense because people would be like, oh, you do it as this now.
Yeah,
so I'd have to take that.
I can't imagine you getting like a pushback, and obviously he said it has, unfortunately, like prevented promoters from booking you just because you have no fans. But I think the fact that, as you mentioned about Jordan Grace and Chelsea Green and loads of other female talents, including yourself, having OnlyFans, it's going to make people, especially in this country, a bit more open-minded, realizing it's not actually porn. It's literally a business. People want to see me in some lingerie and some photos. Cool. That means they're attracted to me, and that's it.
Yeah, and we like we walk around in bikinis in the swimming pool or in the beach and stuff. Or
any different is it that?
Yeah, I might twerk or throw water on myself, make it a bit more sexy. Like, I do a bit more fetishy stuff, and if people do want to see more, they can pay a few £100, but it's not what I put on my main page. My main page is very flirty, this and that. And people want to see more, then they'd have to sign some consent, like some forms, like copyright forms and shit like that. Yeah, then it goes, the sky's the limit.
Fair enough. But I mean, I respect it, like, from a business point of view. I think it's mad. Like, you got your own custom wrestling company, because I can imagine, like, there's going to be a lot of requests. Stuff that my small brain can't even imagine.
Submission wrestling. People love submission wrestling. They love, like, and I'm a really good tag wrestler, so submission wrestling, they love it. People love pedigrees, people love power bombs, people love pile drivers. Some people just literally love actual indie wrestling or just want to be the booker. Like, we've had some matches where, like, there's 4 of us. Like, I was speaking about Dominica to it the other day, where we were backstage talking about it with one of the Euro girls, and we were saying that we had this one fatal 4-way match, and it was just all of our moves in there. And because we had to remember everything, it took us ages to record it. We had to cut about 4 times in order to relook at the script, and that was just move. You know what I mean? Like, indie style. Like, some people actually, they genuinely just want to see their favorite wrestlers do wrestling, like the match they want it. It's like their chance to play booker.
I don't think people realize as well, there is a lot to it. Like, it's not easy to do all the things that you do. And people think, just wrestle in your underwear and that's it. No, it's not that easy,
Well, yeah, like, we wrestle in our wrestling gear, or we wrestle in, like, say, shorts and like a top or something like that. So we are covered. Me and my friend Kat, we've done 2 bra and panty matches, which are sort of like the WWE style ones, where at the end someone gets stripped into their bra and panties. But other than that, it's wrestling gear type of thing, or like crop top and shorts or something. I don't think I could wrestle in a bikini. I think we'd be hanging out. I'd hate to watch the video, and Nah,
fair play. Like, I hopefully, the Sapphires that listen to this, and my listeners, probably like 4 of them, because I'm not really that popular. But I think hopefully they can understand it's literally business, and hopefully the promoters can be more open-minded. But some people are still in the caveman days, like.
It is what it is. I respect everyone's decision. Like, everyone's got to look after their business, and I get that they have to look after their business too. So I'm looking after my business. They've got to look after their business, So, and they've got to think about that. They might not be doing it because see anything wrong, but they're thinking of the overall picture. Maybe I'm not sure. You know, like everyone's got to look after their own business, right? Because we all got to survive.
Damn right.
Like I don't take it personal.
Nah, that's fair. As long as they're not making it personal, then each to their own. That's
it's business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which we're all in it. As I'm currently supposed to be working at the moment, but it's fine. I'm still not on ready, but it's cool. I just say I was with a customer. But anyway, as we this is still recording. I am only joking if someone from work listens to this. But
I know. You're like, NADIA got sacked. Have you got a job? Can I come be a customer?
Do you need a ref for the custom wrestling?
I know. Do you need a ref and a mask?
Sorry, right. So we are coming to an end to the interview. It's been a blast, to be fair. I don't think we've actually talked about that much about pro wrestling, but I said that to you. I like to just try and make it different. But I would be like, what did you think of Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles? You know, it's I like the podcast.
I did watch it. Yeah.
I like to have a laugh, make this just people be themselves. You know, you don't have
just
to
chatting.
Yeah, having a conversation. You know, I'm gonna throw some random questions at you. So, favorite female wrestler of all time?
Trish Stratus.
Favorite male wrestler of all time?
Favorite male?
Yeah.
Kurt Angle.
If you could pick one celebrity to be your tag team partner, who would you pick and why? You've got to get the win, remember. It can be past or present, but one celebrity.
Lopez.
Good answer.
I love J-Lo, and literally when I'm drunk, I put on a fur jacket and sing Jenny from the Block thinking that I'm J-Lo, and I love my hoops, as you can see. So yeah, we could do a nice little entrance together. She'll be there looking all sexy, I'll be there just like looking all stupid like Jenny from the Block. Yeah.
I love her. And what's it called? What's that film called? Hustle.
Oh my god!
Fucking brilliant.
Like, it made me want to be a stripper. That film didn't never be a stripper. Like the way, like she's literally her ass is bouncing in one of the. It's at the start. How the fuck did she do that? How she looks so amazing at 40? Like, oh, she's insane.
50. She's in her early 50s.
Oh my god!
She's like, she is one of my first childhood crushes. Like, she's beautiful.
Oh, she makes still a crush.
Oh yeah, she's gorgeous. Like I have to admit that. Favorite J-Lo song? I think you just answered that, haven't you?
Jenny from the Block. Oh wait, actually.
Oh
god, let's say Jenny from the Block.
Nice.
That's like a new out song.
Yeah, I might use it for the promo video later. It'll make sense when I record later. So that didn't sound right. I basically for every interview I do, I'll get the guest to do a promo. So, hi, I'm going to be appearing. Oh, fuck's sake, this is so random. All right, so favourite concert you've ever been to?
Definitely not Steps. Concert. You know what? I never really enjoy any of them, to be fair.
Really?
No, I'm not really a concert person. I get tired by the end of it. I get bored. Like, if it's like 2 or 3 hours, I'm not blown away. Yeah, I've never seen Beyonce live or J-Lo live. They've probably blown me away with their dancing. But yeah, no, I don't have a favourite.
Nah, that's fair. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah. Ooh, you give me cravings.
Oh, I thought he was all right, but no.
I hate you now.
Nah, I'm joking. Last question. Who in wrestling right now, if you are keeping up to date with it, would you like to wrestle against that is currently active?
I literally love Charlotte Flair. She's my favourite. But wrestle again, like my favourite now, women, but wrestle again should probably be someone like Sasha Banks.
Good choice. I know it's a cool thing to hate on Charlotte, but I think Charlotte is fucking awesome.
No, I don't hate on. Oh my god, like literally, I love every Charlotte match. Charlotte is the queen.
Brilliant. Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I get a bit bored of the feuds, but when it comes to her actual matches, she's fucking brilliant.
Insane. Yeah, amazing.
People do not realise how good she is.
Best of all time.
And the fact that she picked up with him, she was on TV like a year later. She's so good. But no, that's brilliant. I want to thank you, NADIA, for coming on. I think we've had an absolute laugh. It's been brilliant. I know you're very busy, as I said at the beginning. So thank you for your time. Where can the fans... I think this might be like the Jericho list, because you're you've got loads of things going on at the moment. But where can the fans find you on social media, and what have you got planned next?
So Twitter is NADIA_Sapphire. Instagram is Nadia Sapphire. I've got a merchandise store, which is www.nadiasapphire.bigcartel.com. I've also got a custom wrestling store, which is www.powergirlspro.big.cartel.com.
I think we spoke about that.
Yeah, but got to pitch it again. OnlyFans is onlyfans.com/Nadia_Sapphire. You know what? I got a link tree. Just linktree.com/Nadia Sapphire, and then it'll have all my links on there. It's like a million of them.
You know what I'll do? I'll put the link tree in the description. I have seen the shop with the merch. You can actually get video shout outs as well from yourself.
Yeah.
You can get a mug, you can get a t-shirt, you can get signed photos. I'm doing the promoting for it.
I know.
You can get all of this.
Need no promotion now.
Really, I want a job. I can be the PA, by the way, because I know you're busy.
You could be. Yeah, you could be that PA. Yeah, honestly, I really want to go to bed now. Like, I'm so tired, but I need to eat. I haven't eaten yet. I'll walk the dogs too.
Cool. Hopefully it's not pineapple pizza. I want to thank you for coming on today. It's been a really fun episode. For everyone that has listened to this episode, there's going to be more of What Do You Call It podcast coming out soon. But for now, everyone have a great weekend. And I'm still Jenny from the block. And that's going to be stuck in my head along with Tragedy Steps. Take care, everyone. Peace.
The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.